All right, today we are diving into one of Shakespeare's most beloved and brilliant comedies, As You Like It. Now, at its heart, this is way more than just a play. It's really a tale of two completely different worlds, a journey from a court that is just brimming with danger into a forest that promises freedom, healing, and total transformation. So let's jump in and see how it all unfolds. The entire play really hinges on this one powerful contrast. On one side, you have the court. This is a place that's all about paranoia, family betrayal, and just constant, simmering danger. But then you step into the Forest of Arden, and it's the complete opposite. It's this idealized green world where our characters go to find freedom, to heal, and ultimately to find their true selves. So, first up, tyranny at the court, which leads to the escape to freedom. So the big question is, how do our heroes even end up in the forest? Well, it all kicks off back in that nasty court, where family drama and political paranoia basically force them to run for their lives. Okay, so the plot gets going with a bunch of problems that just keep getting worse. First, our hero, Orlando, gets totally cheated out of his inheritance by his wicked older brother, Oliver. Then Orlando enters a wrestling match, and he actually wins, which just makes the paranoid ruler, Duke Frederick, furious. But right in the middle of all that chaos, he meets the Duke's niece, Rosalind, and bam, it's love at first sight. The Duke sees this, sees it as a threat, and banishes his own niece. In a place this toxic, escape isn't just a good idea, it's the only way to survive. Now, you have to remember, for a woman to travel alone back then was incredibly dangerous. But Rosalind is one of Shakespeare's smartest heroines, and she comes up with a brilliant plan. She decides to disguise herself as a young man named Ganymede. Her best friend and cousin, Celia, goes with her, posing as a simple shepherdess named Alina. And this disguise, it isn't just for safety. It ends up driving the entire story, giving Rosalind a kind of freedom to speak and act that she could never, ever have as a woman back at court. So once they get to the Forest of Arden, it's like all the normal rules of society just melt away. This is where we get into the really fun part, love games in Arden and finding truth in disguise. Here in this newfound freedom, Rosalind uses her disguise to set up some of the most hilarious and insightful romantic games you've ever seen. In Arden, we meet Rosalind's dad, Duke Sr., who was banished a long time ago. But you know what? He's not bitter at all. He and his followers are living the simple, happy life. He even says this incredible line, "Sweet are the uses of adversity." He's realized there's more wisdom and truth in the harshness of nature than in all the fake compliments of the court. It's this idea that a simple, natural life is pure, and that's a huge theme in the play. Meanwhile, Orlando has also escaped to the forest. And how does he choose to express all his pent-up emotion? By writing some truly, truly terrible love poems and nailing them to every tree he can find. Seriously, the entire forest basically becomes his personal, very public blog. But hey, this trail of bad poetry actually works, and it leads the disguised Rosalind right to him. So when Rosalind, still disguised as the boy Ganymede, finds Orlando, she sees a golden opportunity. He's going on and on about how he's madly in love. But is he? Is it real, or is it just some idealized fantasy? And that brings up the central question of the play. How do you really test if love is the real deal? She decides she's going to find out. This is where Rosalind's genius just takes over. She offers Orlando a cure for his love sickness. The game is this. Orlando has to pretend Ganymede is actually Rosalind and practice wooing him. But as Ganymede, Rosalind doesn't make it easy. She's witty, she's moody, she's unpredictable, and she challenges his sappy romantic ideas at every single turn. What's she really doing? She's secretly training him to be a better husband by showing him what real love is like, warts and all. It's brilliant. And of course, this disguise creates a gloriously complicated mess. I mean, look at this. Orlando is in love with Rosalind, but the local shepherdess, Phoebe, falls hopelessly in love with Rosalind's disguise, Ganymede. All the while, poor Silvius is desperately in love with Phoebe, who is just plain mean to him. It's this perfect storm of mixed-up love, and Rosalind is pulling all the strings. Then, the plot takes this incredibly dramatic turn. Orlando is walking through the woods when he stumbles upon his evil brother, Oliver, about to be attacked by a lioness. And what does he do? He saves him after everything Oliver did. This one act of forgiveness completely transforms Oliver. He instantly becomes a good person, and in the very next moment, he meets Celia, and they fall in love at first sight. This forest really is a magical place. Okay, so with all these love triangles and sudden transformations, you might be wondering, how is Shakespeare possibly going to wrap all this up? The answer? With a wonderfully over-the-top, magical resolution that ties up every single loose end. Seeing everyone completely tangled up in their love lives, Rosalind, still as Ganymede, steps up like a master of ceremonies. She promises everyone that through some mysterious magic, she's going to solve all their problems. She tells Orlando he'll finally get to marry Rosalind, and she tells Phoebe she'll marry Ganymede, but if she refuses, she has to marry Silvius instead. She's setting the stage for a grand final reveal. And the payoff is absolutely spectacular. Rosalind makes good on her promise. And in the grand finale, we get not one, not two, but four couples all married in a single ceremony. It's a huge festival of joy and resolution. So, who are the happy couples? Well, Rosalind finally reveals herself and marries Orlando, whose love has been tested and proven true. Her cousin, Celia, marries the new and improved Oliver. The humbled Phoebe agrees to marry the ever-faithful Silvius. And hey, even the court jester, Touchstone, finds love with a local goatherd named Audrey. In one move, every single knot is perfectly tied. But wait, there's more. Just when you think things can't possibly get any happier, some news arrives. The evil Duke Frederick, the one who started this whole mess, was marching to the forest with an army. But on the way, he met a hermit, had a change of heart, and has decided to give up the throne and become a monk. Seriously, the political world gets healed just as magically as the romantic one. So, beyond all the fun and happy endings, why are we still talking about As You Like It more than 400 years later? Because it's absolutely packed with these huge, timeless ideas about life, love, and who we choose to be in the world. This play is the perfect example of what's called a pastoral comedy. This is a genre that's all about contrasting the corrupt, artificial life of the city or court with the pure, healing power of a simple country life. It's a theme of escape and renewal that still hits home today, right? That feeling of just wanting to get away from it all and find something more authentic. And of course, this play gives us one of the most famous speeches in all of English literature. It comes from a character named Jacques, who's sort of a cynical, melancholy guy. He looks around at everyone and says, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players." His point is that our lives aren't really our own. We're all just actors playing a series of predetermined roles. He then breaks down a whole human life into 7 acts. First, you're the helpless infant. Then, the whining schoolboy. Then, the sighing lover, probably writing bad poetry. After that, the aggressive soldier. Then, the wise justice. And from there, it's a slow decline into old age until you reach the final stage, oblivion. Sans teeth, sans eyes, sans taste, sans everything. It's a beautiful but pretty bleak look at life. But here's the interesting part. The play itself seems to argue against Jacques' cynical view. I mean, think about Rosalind. She didn't just accept the role she was given, she wrote her own script. She put on a disguise, she directed the action, and she created her own happy ending. And that leaves us with a final question to think about. If life really is a performance, are we just players reading from a script? Or can we, like Rosalind, choose the role we want to play?